Well, the board man gets paid, and the home team finally gets a win in this series. Kawhi Leonard and company use a 24-4 run at the end of the third to take home the win in Game 7. Welcome to Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T 5G. Chris Miles here, Isaiah Thomas, Lloyd Pierce, two former coaches in the NBA. And I got to start this with props to Ty Lue.
Yes.
Now 4-0 in Game 7s in his career. Only coach ever with more wins undefeated in Game 7s. Red Auerbach. So that's elite company that Ty Lue has joined, Zeke.
And one of the most historic comebacks from a coaching standpoint that we've ever seen in a championship series. Being down 3-1 to that historic Golden State team that was 73-9 and leading that Cavaliers team back to confidence and victory. And we just seen him put his confidence back into the Clippers. And, you know, as Reggie Jackson said, he was smooth as peanut butter, you know, in terms of talking to us and just very calm. So he has a way with the team, you know, when they're in tough situations and keeping them confident. And that confidence showed tonight in the Game 7. In the Game 7, right, they're 50% from the field, 46% from the three-point line, and a shocking 24 for 24 from the free throw line. So you're talking about that type of offensive efficiency where they're not missing. Right.
You know, they're extremely confident. So you got to go to the bench and give Ty Lue a lot of props for that. Well, it starts with his best player as well. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, you look across the board, 1 assist shy of a triple-double, 28, 10, 9, 4 steals, but you were saying that efficiency? Yeah, 10 for 15 from the field, shot 60% from the field in this series. Game 6 and 7, saved his best for last when facing elimination.
Well, he's been in this situation plenty of times, and we understand Kawhi is an excellent closer, not a good closer. He's an excellent closer, and we've seen it enough. But I thought today the difference in how Ty used Kawhi, he was essentially their point guard, and you saw him initiate a lot of the possessions in this game. And so we know he's an efficient scorer. We know he can attack the rim as he's doing here, going by Boban. But to put the ball in his hands, to start the offense, this is probably one of the most complete games that I've seen out of Kawhi Leonard. Scoring efficiency, crashing the boards here for an offensive rebound, second chance opportunities. But the 9 assists, you don't see that often in the Kawhi Leonard stat sheet. And I think that's where we saw tremendous production from guys like Morris, guys like Luka Doncic and Reggie Jackson. Their games was elevated because of what Kawhi Leonard did and the attention that he brings on the offensive end.
And on the other side of the ball, I mean, we got to look at Luka Doncic and what he did, despite the loss being what it was. And it was a close game through 3 quarters, but Luka, 46, 14 assists, 7 rebounds. Those 46, 1 point shy of the NBA's record in Game 7s held by Dominique Wilkins and Sam Jones. That's just incredible.
Yeah, it is. And I'm going to take a different approach here because, you know, while these numbers sound great and Luka is fantastic, I'm wondering if you can really win and get a championship playing the way Luka plays. Because it's all Luka, right? And, you know, he's so dominant with the basketball. And we saw this in Houston with James Harden, right? James Harden was so dominant with the basketball, numbers great, MVP and everything else. But can you win a championship this way? And can your team advance? And, you know, while the numbers look good for Luka, can you actually win playing this way when everything is just centered around Luka?
Well, that's a key point when we look on the Clippers and what happened, the difference between Game 6 and Game 7. Game 6, it was Reggie Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard scoring 90 of their points. It was a different story in Game 7. When you look at Marcus Morris knocking down 7 3-pointers, you look at Terrence Mann coming off the bench to score 13, Luke Kennard with 11, Nick Batum also with 11. It was a more complete effort by the Clippers.
Well, I think his point's valid. It's 22-6 advantage for the LA Clippers off the bench. And so when you start there, who else can come in and impact the game? Obviously, scoring is one area, but that's a huge area. Yeah. And if the Dallas Mavericks are centered around Luka and the ball dominance of Luka, it is going to be hard in a game like this. Yes, he scored well, but who else was able to impact the game? And so I think that difference, 22-6 advantage, Clippers bench, but the other advantage was 30-22 in terms of assists. And so Kawhi's tremendous game, running this team, getting other guys involved, and they had guys step up, but those guys were empowered to step up, and that's why they had tremendous production from the bench and with the assists.
Yeah, I think, using Luka the way you use him, again, he's great. One of the best players we've ever had in our league. But you got to get him off the ball sometimes, and you got to give others a chance other than just catch and shoot. You got to be able to. It's a team game, and the numbers say that he plays team basketball, but the numbers don't tell you how much he's really got the ball all the time. And like I say, we've seen this with Harden, in Houston, and I just don't know if you can win championships this way.
Quickly, is it a coaching issue? Is it a front office issue? Do they have the right talent on the team? Like, why is that happening?
Well, it's always a system issue, right? And we've seen Carlisle. This is the first time I've ever seen Carlisle use a player like this much, where the ball is just always in his hand. Carlisle is usually, everybody touches, feel it, moving basketball around. But Luka has been so good and so dominant, you can't argue with the numbers. The analytics going to say we're wrong, all right? But from a winning championship standpoint, I'm going to say analytics is wrong. You have to find another way to play and win championships if Luka's going to be your dominant player on the team.
Yeah, I think at this stage of the season, especially as you advance further in the playoffs, the greatest challenge is how do you find easy baskets? Everyone's going to know what you run. You're going to try and attack matchups as often as you can, and you're going to put the ball in your best player's hands. How do you find easy baskets? And sometimes getting the ball out of a guy like Luka's hands, getting a ball out of a guy like Kawhi's hands, and letting some other guys feel empowered, but create some easy baskets because they're not getting double teamed. They're not getting the defense shifting over to them. They're able to play a little freer. And so, the system, you got to put the ball in Luka's hands. He's a dominant player. He's a top performer in this league.